It is said by Michael Johnson over the weekend that his being a descendant of a slave has been very helpful in him being a superior athlete. He says, I believe there's a superior athletic gene in us. Difficult as it was to hear, slavery has benefited descendants like me. I believe there's a superior athletic gene in us. And I know that he's a tough, outstanding athlete for Olympics and has done exceptionally well. Coming from Texas, I think I looked up his resume once, and he was attending some educational institution in Texas. But I don't know if I could call it on his education, whether as an athlete he was able to spend time in academics or just sports. But there are so many other people who are slaves. Africa had enslaved the rest of the world. But yet it comes down to blacks now seem to be saying that because of the slavery, something it has created some gene that makes him a superior athlete and so on. And I have to disagree with this. Now this is fitting into the stereotypes. Well, black people are only athletic and they should be on the various sport teams as opposed to being on the scholarship team. And so when the white folks, pushing black kids into sports or into industrial sort of arts or to go work in factory, then we have a problem with that. So what about Obama? Obama is mixed. He has a scholar father who wasn't African, who was not a slave, his mom white, coming from Europe and so on. Eventually her genes are from Europe. But yet he excelled in basketball. And, he's also a scholar, so it seems as if, of course he has a white, and I'm a black, and might say the scholarship genes came from the white, but his father was a scholar at Harvard too. However, I don't agree with Mr. Johnson in his conclusion here, because the real fact is that perhaps slavery has something to do with it, with prejudice and the disdain that the others show for black people, and keeping us out of business and out of graduate school, graduate school and all that, has put black folks back up against the world. And furthermore, some of these other sports, it requires a flat outlay of resources to acquire equipment. Say like basketball, not a basketball hockey, the stick, the gloves, the knee pads or the shin pads, foot guard, the rib cage, all that. That's almost $1,000 plus, and plus fees probably to train and so forth. But running is free, basketball is free, all these things are free. Now there's a dark-skinned guy who won swimming gold in one of the Olympics, and his mom is white, but he comes out dark like me. And of course, I don't know if his parents were divorced, but he lived in the white community. You have all these resources, swimming pool, coach, and whole nine yards, and he was able to do well. In fact, there's a black guy also who was into the winter sports, in speed skater, and he won almost every competition he's in, and some is white. Counterparts are upset with that. So I don't think necessarily that's the case. Now, with the winter sports coming from Europe, the cold and wild black come from the heat, the temperature, the tropical climate here. They have this natural thing, and the winter sports are from Europe, the culture and all that. Now you have Jamaicans getting the bobsled and so on. But if blacks were to, go into winter sports, notwithstanding that if you have to put up money, it might be a barrier for the majority. But if it were possible to have these equipment would be loaned and free and all that, they would do well also. And that because, again, they lack the opportunities in other spheres of the culture. I believe that if whites were in a similar position like us, if blacks had enslaved the whites, then, and keeping them out from business and from finance and from all opportunities, they would have excelled in sports, and the blacks would have said, I don't need to go through all that hardship, all that playing, all these hours. I need to, go to school so I could get me a career in law or something like that, or in medicine. So, it's not straight up because you're black and because you're a descendant of slavery, you're a good athlete. Because there are many, many black people who are not good athletes. but they're good scholars. Um, of course, certain traditions now there, and you don't have a dominance in Ivy League and so forth, which is another reason why blacks are kind of, going to the sports, because you can't get into Yale, you can't get into Harvard, you can't get into some of the top schools simply because the tests perhaps are skewed towards whites, and it's created by whites, and whites play these games, and that's how they live, so that they're able to function on those tests and score high and end up, get into Ivy League. So this is a false kind of premise that he's doing well because he's a descendant of black slaves and so forth. By the way, there was what was his name? I'm thinking Mr. Guide. Yeah, he died a couple of years ago. He was from, I think it was Sudan, and he was tall, and he was playing basketball in the NBA. So and he was no slave. He didn't come through here with the British or the French into the Caribbean or into North America or into the West, so as to say, well, this is slavery gene in him, or it's a black gene in him, or what. But I think Mr. Johnson needs to be careful with how he's sort of characterizing things, because I don't think his observations are reliable, valid,